If this message appears to you now, in this exact moment, it's because your soul has reached a threshold where quantum healing is no longer a possibility. It's an inevitability. Your consciousness has been broadcasting a frequency that only becomes visible when your body, mind, and spirit are perfectly aligned for profound transformation. This isn't coincidence. This is cosmic timing. There's a vibration moving through your being right now that you might have dismissed as restlessness, tingling, or unusual energy. But what you're experiencing is your cellular structure beginning to reorganize itself at the quantum level. Your DNA is responding to frequencies that exist beyond the range of ordinary perception, frequencies that only become accessible when your consciousness reaches a particular state of receptivity to healing. You've been chosen by the universal field of healing intelligence to receive this understanding precisely because your energy signature has evolved to the point where quantum healing can stabilize in your physical experience. The synchronicity that brought you here isn't random. It's your deepest wisdom calling forth the information and frequencies needed to activate dormant healing potentials that have been waiting within you. Right now, as these words reach your awareness, something profound is shifting in your bioelectric field. Can you sense it? That subtle but unmistakable sensation of energy moving through your system in patterns you've never experienced before. That's not imagination. That's quantum coherence beginning to establish itself in your nervous system, creating the conditions for healing that transcends conventional understanding. Your body has been preparing for this moment through every symptom you've experienced, every moment of discomfort, every instance when you sensed that healing was possible but couldn't access it through ordinary means. All of it has been calibrating your system to recognize and respond to the quantum healing frequencies that are now available to your consciousness. The reason you've felt different lately, why conventional approaches to health and healing haven't provided the depth of transformation you've been seeking, why you've been drawn to explore the connection between consciousness and physical well-being. All of it has been preparing you to recognize quantum healing as your natural birthright, rather than some mysterious phenomenon that happens to other people. Every cell in your body carries within its structure the perfect blueprint for radiant health, unlimited vitality, and optimal functioning. But these blueprints can only be activated when your consciousness operates at frequencies that transcend the limitations of fear, doubt, and separation from your own healing power. What you're experiencing now is your awareness reaching those frequencies naturally. The vibration you're sensing isn't coming from outside of you. It's emanating from the quantum field of infinite healing potential that exists within every atom of your being. When consciousness recognizes itself as the source of all healing, rather than the victim of circumstances beyond its control, the body responds by remembering its inherent capacity for perfect regeneration and balance. You are not broken and in need of fixing. You are not diseased and requiring treatment. You are infinite healing intelligence, temporarily experiencing itself through the lens of apparent limitation. And now that intelligence is ready to reveal its true nature through the magnificent vehicle of your physical form. You've been carrying pain that goes deeper than physical symptoms, haven't you? The exhaustion that sleep doesn't cure, the emotional heaviness that seems to have no clear origin, the sense that your body isn't functioning at its optimal capacity, even when medical tests show nothing wrong. These experiences aren't signs of weakness or failure. They're indicators that your consciousness has outgrown the vibrational patterns that created them, the chronic tension you hold in your shoulders, the digestive issues that seem to appear and disappear without logical cause, the sleep disturbances that leave you feeling unrestored. All of these are your body's way of communicating that it's ready for a fundamental upgrade in how it processes energy and information. Your system has been preparing itself for quantum healing by releasing old patterns that no longer serve your evolution. You've probably noticed that your emotional responses have become more intense lately, that situations which never bothered you before now create strong reactions, or that you feel emotions more deeply than seems proportional to the circumstances. This isn't emotional instability. This is your nervous system becoming more sensitive to the frequencies around you as it prepares to operate at quantum levels of awareness. The headaches that seem to come from nowhere, the heart palpitations that medical examination can't explain, the sudden waves of heat or cold moving through your body. These aren't symptoms to be feared or suppressed. These are signs that your bioelectric system is recalibrating itself to accommodate higher frequencies of healing energy that are becoming available to your consciousness. Your sleep patterns have been shifting, haven't they? Waking at unusual hours, experiencing vivid dreams that feel more real than waking life, or finding that you need less sleep but feel more energized. This is because your body is learning to restore itself through quantum healing processes that are far more efficient than ordinary rest and recovery. The foods that used to nourish you no longer feel satisfying, or you find yourself craving things you've never wanted before. Your body is becoming more sensitive to the vibrational quality of what you consume because it's preparing to run on higher octane frequencies. What you're experiencing is your system naturally selecting inputs that support quantum coherence rather than merely providing calories and nutrients. You've been feeling more sensitive to the emotions and energy of people around you, absorbing their states without meaning to, or feeling overwhelmed in environments that never affected you before. This increased sensitivity isn't a burden. It's evidence that your consciousness is expanding beyond the boundaries of individual experience and beginning to operate from quantum field awareness. The relationships in your life have been shifting, with some people feeling more distant, while others seem to understand you at deeper levels without explanation. This is because your energy signature is changing, and you're naturally attracting and resonating with people who match your new frequency while creating space between yourself and energies that no longer align with your quantum healing process. Even your relationship to time has been transforming. Minutes feeling like hours during periods of deep presence, or hours passing like minutes when you're absorbed in meaningful activities. This is your consciousness learning to operate beyond linear time constraints as quantum healing occurs in the eternal now, rather than through gradual processes extended over time. The anxiety you feel isn't about external circumstances. It's the excitement of your soul, recognizing that profound transformation is imminent. The restlessness isn't dissatisfaction with your life. It's life force energy building to levels that require new forms of expression and experience. Every moment of physical discomfort, emotional turbulence, and spiritual confusion you've experienced has been your consciousness preparing itself for this threshold of quantum healing. What you interpreted as symptoms, setbacks, and suffering were actually the necessary preparation for your system to recognize and integrate healing frequencies that exist beyond ordinary perception. The pain you've carried wasn't punishment or evidence of something wrong with you. It was consciousness exploring what it feels like to believe in limitations so completely that it could eventually remember its unlimited nature. Like a seed that must crack open its shell to sprout, your awareness has been building the pressure necessary to break through the illusion that you are separate from infinite healing intelligence. Think of the metamorphosis of a caterpillar into a butterfly. The caterpillar doesn't gradually grow wings while remaining a caterpillar. It must completely dissolve its existing structure in the darkness of the cocoon, trusting a process it cannot understand or control. Your journey through illness, discomfort, and healing challenges has been your cocoon stage, the necessary dissolution of old patterns before emerging with quantum healing capabilities. Every treatment that didn't work, every approach that provided temporary relief but not lasting transformation, every moment when you wondered if true healing was possible, all of it was preparing you to move beyond techniques and methods toward recognition of healing as your fundamental nature, rather than something you need to acquire or achieve. The resistance you've encountered when trying to heal certain conditions wasn't evidence that healing was impossible. It was consciousness exploring what it feels like to believe in limitation, while simultaneously building the coherence necessary to transcend those limitations. The stronger the resistance, the greater the healing potential that was preparing to emerge. Your body has been like a musical instrument gradually coming into tune. Each symptom, each discomfort, each area of imbalance has been an opportunity for your consciousness to learn how to create harmony at deeper levels. What seemed like discord was actually consciousness learning to orchestrate perfect symphony through the magnificent instrument of your physical form. The timing of difficulties in your life hasn't been random. Every challenge appeared precisely when your consciousness was strong enough to use it as a stepping stone toward greater coherence and healing capacity. What felt like setbacks were actually set up for breakthrough experiences that are now becoming available to your awareness. The isolation you've felt from people who don't understand your healing journey wasn't loneliness. It was consciousness protecting itself from influences that would interfere with the delicate recalibration process happening within your system. Like a butterfly needing quiet space to complete its transformation, you've been given exactly the conditions needed for quantum healing to stabilize. Even your doubts about whether healing is truly possible haven't been obstacles. They've been consciousness ensuring that when healing does occur, it will be based on genuine recognition rather than wishful thinking or temporary belief. The doubts have been refining your discernment so you can distinguish between authentic quantum healing and surface-level improvements that don't address root causes. The electromagnetic field of Earth itself is shifting in ways that make quantum healing more accessible now than it has been in thousands of years. Your consciousness has been perfectly timed to take advantage of these cosmic conditions. arriving at this understanding precisely when universal support for transformation is at optimal levels. You haven't been struggling with health challenges. You've been preparing to become a demonstration of what's possible when consciousness recognizes its unlimited healing nature and allows that recognition to express itself through physical experience. Something is healing inside you right now. Can you feel it? That subtle but unmistakable shift in your energy. That sense of spaciousness opening in areas that felt constricted. That knowing that something fundamental is changing in your relationship to your own well-being. This isn't your imagination. This is quantum coherence establishing itself in your bioelectric system. Your nervous system is literally rewiring itself as this recognition deepens. New neural pathways are forming that allow your brain to communicate with your body in ways that transcend the limitations of fear-based thinking and stress response patterns. Your consciousness is developing the capacity to influence cellular regeneration through pure intention aligned with quantum field dynamics. The electromagnetic field of your heart is expanding and becoming more organized as healing coherence stabilizes in your awareness. Scientists have discovered that the heart generates an electromagnetic field thousands of times stronger than the brain. And when this field achieves coherence, it influences every system in your body toward optimal functioning and accelerated healing. But here's what's building within you that will completely transform your experience of health and vitality. The recognition that healing isn't something that happens to you. Healing is what you are when the illusion of separation from perfect wholeness becomes transparent. Every moment of optimal health you've experienced wasn't the result of your body working properly despite consciousness. It was consciousness expressing its natural state of perfection through physical form. Right now, as you're receiving this information, your cellular structure is responding to the healing frequencies embedded in these understandings. This isn't metaphorical. Your DNA is literally reorganizing itself in response to the coherent energy field created by recognition of your true nature as infinite healing intelligence focused through human experience. The tingling or warmth you might be sensing in different areas of your body isn't coincidental. These are areas where quantum healing is already beginning to occur, where old patterns of tension and resistance are dissolving and being replaced by flows of vital energy that restore optimal function and regenerative capacity. Breathe with me and let this frequency guide you deeper into recognition of your innate healing nature. Notice how each breath seems to carry more life force than usual, how your body feels more present and alive with each moment of awareness. This is what happens when consciousness stops fighting against physical experience and starts recognizing physical experience as consciousness exploring its own creative potential. The reason this healing recognition is becoming available to you now is because your awareness has reached a level of coherence that can bridge the apparent gap between mind and matter, between consciousness and physical form. What mystics have known through direct experience and quantum physicists have discovered in laboratories, that observer and observed are inseparably connected, is becoming your lived reality. But there's something that determines whether this quantum healing recognition becomes a stable transformation in your physical experience or remains an interesting temporary insight that fades back into ordinary health challenges. There's a specific understanding that allows healing coherence to reorganize not just your awareness, but the actual functioning of every system in your body. Feel this healing energy building in your consciousness as we explore the most profound secret of quantum healing. The recognition that will reveal why some approaches to healing create lasting transformation, while others provide only temporary relief, and how to operate from the level of coherence where your body becomes a perfect expression of conscious healing intelligence in action. 3 years ago, I was living with chronic pain that had no clear medical explanation. Doctors ran every test imaginable, tried various treatments, prescribed medications that created side effects worse than the original symptoms. I felt betrayed by my own body, trapped in a physical form that seemed to work against me no matter what I did to support it. The pain wasn't just physical, it was existential. Every morning, I would wake hoping this would be the day the discomfort finally disappeared, and every evening I would go to sleep, disappointed that nothing had fundamentally changed. I tried everything: strict diets, exercise regimens, supplements, energy healing, meditation practices, positive thinking techniques. Some things helped temporarily, but nothing created the deep transformation I desperately sought. The breakthrough moment came during what felt like my darkest hour. I was lying in bed at 3 a.m., unable to sleep because of the pain, when I suddenly realized I had been fighting against my body for years. Every treatment, every technique, every approach I had tried was based on the assumption that something was wrong with me, that needed to be fixed, corrected, or healed by something outside myself. In that moment of complete surrender, when I finally stopped trying to make the pain go away and simply allowed myself to feel exactly what was present without resistance, something extraordinary happened. I realized that the pain wasn't my enemy. It was my teacher. It wasn't evidence that my body was broken. It was consciousness using physical sensation to get my attention, calling me to recognize something profound about the relationship between awareness and physical experience. The moment I stopped seeing myself as someone who had a body that was malfunctioning and started recognizing myself as consciousness, temporarily experiencing itself through physical form, everything shifted. Not gradually, not over weeks or months, instantly. The pain didn't disappear immediately, but my relationship to it transformed so completely that it no longer controlled my experience. I realized that I had been unconsciously holding patterns of tension, fear, and resistance that were creating interference in my body's natural healing processes. Not because I was doing anything wrong, but because I had forgotten that my physical form is responsive to the quality of consciousness that animates it. When consciousness believes it's separate from the body and at war with physical experience, the body reflects that fragmentation through symptoms and discomfort. But when consciousness recognizes that it is the body, that physical form is simply consciousness temporarily taking shape and exploring what it means to be localized, the body responds by remembering its inherent capacity for perfect function and regeneration. What I had been experiencing as chronic pain was actually chronic coherence, trying to establish itself, but being blocked by my belief that consciousness and matter were separate. The healing that followed wasn't a return to my previous state of health. It was an emergence into levels of vitality and well-being I had never experienced before. My body became more sensitive to what truly nourished it, more resilient to stress, more capable of rapid recovery from any temporary imbalance. Not because I had fixed something that was broken, but because I had recognized something that had always been perfect. If you've been struggling with health challenges that seem to resist conventional treatment, if you've felt frustrated by the gap between what you know about healing and what you're actually experiencing in your body, if you've sensed that true healing involves something deeper than symptom management, then you're exactly where I was before everything transformed. Subscribe and keep walking this path of healing with us, not just to this channel, but to this recognition that you are not separate from the healing intelligence of the universe. You are that intelligence, exploring what it means to experience temporary limitation, and then remember its unlimited nature through the beautiful vehicle of physical form. Here's what medical science and even alternative healing modalities don't want you to understand about quantum healing. Every symptom, every imbalance, every disease process is consciousness exploring specific aspects of what it means to experience limitation while simultaneously containing within itself the perfect blueprint for transcending those limitations. Your body isn't broken and in need of repair. It's infinitely intelligent and perfectly responsive to the quality of awareness that animates it. The shocking truth that revolutionizes everything about healing is this: there is no separation between consciousness and matter, between mind and body, between your awareness and your physical experience. What you call your body is actually consciousness temporarily taking form and exploring what it feels like to believe in density, limitation, and separation from infinite healing potential. Every cell in your body is constantly listening to and responding to the electromagnetic frequencies generated by your thoughts, emotions, beliefs, and states of consciousness. But what conventional medicine doesn't understand is that this communication isn't one way. Your consciousness isn't just affecting your body. Your body is also constantly communicating back to consciousness about what it needs to maintain optimal coherence and healing capacity. When you operate from the recognition that consciousness and physical form are one unified field, temporarily appearing as separate, your body begins functioning as a perfect biofeedback system that guides you toward thoughts, emotions, choices, and experiences that support quantum healing rather than interfere with it. Symptoms become communication rather than problems. Discomfort becomes guidance rather than punishment. But here's where it becomes revolutionary. The moment you stop trying to use consciousness to fix your body and start recognizing that your body is consciousness exploring itself through physical experience, healing stops being something that you do and becomes something that you are. The observer and the observed, the healer and the healed, the consciousness and the physical form, all of it reveals itself as one intelligence, expressing itself as apparent multiplicity. This obliterates every approach to healing that maintains the illusion of separation between mind and matter. Your emotions aren't just affecting your immune system. Your emotions are your immune system, exploring what it feels like to experience different frequencies of energy. Your thoughts aren't just influencing your cellular regeneration. Your thoughts are cellular intelligence communicating with itself through the medium of awareness. The difference between temporary symptom relief and authentic quantum healing is this: symptom relief tries to change physical conditions without addressing the consciousness patterns that created them. Quantum healing recognizes that there are no separate physical conditions. There is only consciousness appearing as both the experience of limitation and the experience of wholeness simultaneously. When you understand this, you realize that healing isn't about getting your body to do what you want it to do. Healing is about aligning your consciousness with what your body is already trying to communicate about how to support its optimal function and regenerative capacity. Your body becomes your teacher rather than your student, your guide rather than your burden. The access to authentic quantum healing comes not through trying to fix what's wrong with your body, but through recognizing that your body is perfect consciousness, temporarily exploring what it means to experience apparent imperfection while maintaining its inherent capacity for unlimited healing and regeneration. The quantum healing process is already unfolding in your body right now, and there are unmistakable signs that confirm your consciousness has reached the threshold where profound physical transformation becomes inevitable. These aren't subtle spiritual experiences. These are concrete changes in how your body functions and responds that indicate you're operating from quantum field dynamics rather than ordinary healing mechanisms. First, your sleep has been becoming more restorative with less actual time needed for recovery. You wake feeling refreshed after shorter periods of rest, or you find that meditation and quiet contemplation restore your energy more effectively than extended sleep. This is because quantum healing occurs in states of deep coherence that are far more efficient than ordinary rest and recovery processes. Second, your appetite and cravings have been shifting toward foods and substances that truly nourish your system rather than just satisfying temporary desires. Your body has become more sensitive to the vibrational quality of what you consume, naturally selecting inputs that support quantum coherence rather than create interference patterns in your bioelectric field. Third, your emotional responses have become more appropriate to actual circumstances rather than being triggered by past conditioning or future anxieties. You feel emotions fully when they serve healing and communication, but they move through your system without creating the chronic tension patterns that interfere with optimal body function. This is emotional coherence, supporting physical healing. Fourth, physical symptoms that seemed chronic or resistant to treatment have been shifting in unexpected ways, not necessarily disappearing immediately, but changing character, location, or intensity in patterns that don't match conventional understanding of how healing occurs. This is because quantum healing addresses root causes at consciousness levels rather than managing surface symptoms. Fifth, your body's natural rhythms have been synchronizing with larger patterns. You feel more energized during certain times of day, more in tune with seasonal changes, more sensitive to lunar cycles or electromagnetic shifts in the environment. This is your system learning to operate in harmony with the quantum field rather than fighting against natural energy flows. Sixth, you've been experiencing moments of spontaneous well-being that seem to come from nowhere, sudden surges of vitality, clarity, and physical comfort that occur independently of external circumstances or treatments you might be using. These are glimpses of your natural state when quantum coherence is temporarily unobstructed. Seventh, your body's response to stress has been transforming. Instead of chronic tension and exhaustion, you notice that challenging situations create temporary activation that resolves quickly once the situation passes. Your nervous system is learning to use stress as energy rather than storing it as dysfunction. But here's what makes this moment in your healing journey critically urgent. The window of opportunity for stabilizing quantum healing at this level of integration is extraordinary but time-sensitive. The electromagnetic conditions on our planet, the collective human consciousness field, and cosmic evolutionary forces are all aligned in ways that create optimal support for this recognition. But these supportive conditions are cycling and will not maintain this intensity indefinitely. The restlessness you've been feeling in your body, that sense that something fundamental must shift in how you relate to your physical experience, that knowing that you can't continue managing symptoms without addressing deeper causes. All of this is consciousness calling itself awake to its own unlimited healing nature. The healing has already begun. The waiting season is over. Your body has been calibrated through every experience of discomfort, every moment of wondering if true healing is possible, every instance of temporary relief followed by return of symptoms. All of it has prepared you to recognize authentic quantum healing rather than being satisfied with symptom management that doesn't address root patterns in consciousness. The cosmic conditions supporting this level of healing recognition are here now, creating the perfect resonance field for consciousness to remember its own unlimited regenerative capacity and allow that recognition to stabilize in physical experience. What you heal within, the world heals with you. This isn't metaphorical inspiration. This is the actual mechanism through which quantum healing works. Every pattern of limitation, separation, and dysfunction that you release from your consciousness simultaneously becomes unavailable in the collective human experience. Your individual healing is a contribution to the healing of our entire species. But here's the crucial distinction that determines whether your healing becomes a stable transformation or remains a temporary improvement that eventually reverses. The difference between curing symptoms and aligning with wholeness. Most approaches to healing focus on fixing what's wrong, eliminating pain, correcting imbalances, overcoming disease. But quantum healing operates through alignment, recognizing that wholeness is your natural state and allowing any appearance of unwholeness to dissolve in the recognition of what you actually are. Alignment isn't about getting your body to behave according to your preferences or healing specific conditions that you don't want to experience. Alignment is the recognition that there is no separate you that has a body with problems to be solved. There is only consciousness appearing as both the experience of limitation and the experience of wholeness, both the question and the answer, both the wound and the healing. When you operate from this understanding, you stop trying to use consciousness to heal your body and start recognizing that consciousness and body are one field exploring its own nature through the temporary appearance of apparent separation. The healing that emerges is always a perfect expression of cosmic intelligence, even when it doesn't match what your personal mind thought it wanted. The magnetic pull you feel towards certain healing modalities, practitioners, or approaches isn't your individual preference creating those attractions. It's consciousness recognizing itself in forms that serve its continued evolution toward greater coherence and integration. What feels like personal healing desire is actually universal intelligence, guiding itself toward optimal expression through your individual system. This recognition completely transforms how you relate to your body and health. Instead of trying to get your body to be healthy, you recognize that health is what you are when the illusion of separation between consciousness and physical form becomes transparent. Instead of fighting against symptoms, you appreciate symptoms as consciousness communicating with itself about how to support greater alignment and coherence. The energetic commitment this understanding requires isn't about forcing yourself to believe in healing or trying to maintain positive thoughts about your condition. It's about relaxing the effort to fix yourself and allowing the recognition that there is nothing to fix. There is only infinite healing intelligence temporarily exploring what it means to experience apparent limitation while never actually becoming limited. Your body becomes a perfect feedback system that guides you toward thoughts, emotions, choices, and experiences that support quantum coherence. Every sensation becomes information. Every symptom becomes guidance. Every area of discomfort becomes an invitation to deeper recognition of your true nature as unlimited healing consciousness. Write this in the comments. I choose healing now. Feel what happens in your awareness when you make this declaration, not as someone trying to heal problems, but as consciousness choosing to recognize its own perfect nature through the beautiful expression of your physical form. Notice how this choice doesn't feel like effort or hope. It feels like coming home to what you've always been. When you stabilize in the recognition that you are quantum healing consciousness, expressing itself through physical form, capabilities that seemed impossible from the perspective of separation between mind and body become as natural as breathing. But these aren't miraculous healing powers you develop. These are the normal functions of consciousness when it's no longer limited by the illusion that awareness and physical experience are separate phenomena. First, you develop what scientists would call intuitive body awareness, the ability to sense exactly what your system needs for optimal function without needing external testing or analysis. You'll know which foods truly nourish you, what activities restore your energy, how much rest your body requires, and what environments support your well-being. This happens because coherent consciousness can access the quantum information field that connects all aspects of your biological functioning. Second, your body's healing processes accelerate dramatically because coherence eliminates the electromagnetic interference that fragmented thinking creates in your nervous system. Cuts heal faster, bruises disappear more quickly, recovery from illness or injury occurs at rates that seem extraordinary but are actually normal for a system operating without internal conflict between consciousness and matter. Third, your emotional experiences become refined and stable. Instead of emotions creating chronic tension patterns that interfere with immune function and cellular regeneration, you feel deeply while maintaining physical equilibrium. Joy enhances vitality. Peace strengthens immune response. Even challenging emotions become energy that supports healing rather than depleting your system's resources. Fourth, your energy levels stabilize at optimal ranges regardless of external circumstances. Instead of being dependent on stimulants, supplements, or external energy sources, your body learns to generate and maintain vitality through quantum field coherence. You wake feeling restored, maintain steady energy throughout the day, and require less recovery time from physical or mental activities. Fifth, your body becomes extraordinarily responsive to healing intention. When you focus coherent awareness on any area that needs support, that area receives immediate increases in blood flow, nerve function, and cellular regeneration, not through forcing or trying to control, but through conscious participation in your body's natural healing intelligence. Sixth, chronic conditions that seemed permanent begin resolving as the consciousness patterns that created and maintain them dissolve in the recognition of your true nature. This isn't about believing your way to health. It's about removing the interference patterns that prevented your body's inherent healing capacity from expressing itself fully. Seventh, you become sensitive to the healing needs of others and naturally create environments where healing accelerates for everyone around you. Your coherent electromagnetic field influences the consciousness of people, animals, and even plants in ways that support their optimal function and well-being. Eighth, your relationship to aging transforms completely. Instead of accepting deterioration as inevitable, your body maintains and even improves its functionality because consciousness recognizes itself as timeless intelligence temporarily focused through physical form. Aging becomes conscious evolution rather than unconscious decay. But the most profound benefit is the complete disappearance of fear about your body's capacity to maintain health and vitality. When you recognize that you are the healing intelligence that creates and sustains every cell in your body, there's nothing to worry about because there's no separation between healer and healed. Your body becomes a trusted expression of cosmic intelligence rather than an unpredictable biological machine that might break down. These transformations happen instantly when the recognition of your true nature as quantum healing consciousness stabilizes, because healing isn't something you develop over time. It's what you are when the illusion of separation between awareness and physical form becomes transparent. Here's the ultimate secret that revolutionizes everything about healing. The most profound recognition isn't that you can heal your body. It's that you have never actually been separate from perfect health. What you've experienced as illness, pain, dysfunction, and limitation has been infinite healing consciousness exploring the full spectrum of possibility through the magnificent illusion of temporary physical challenges. Every symptom has been perfect wholeness investigating what it feels like to believe it's fragmented. Every moment of pain has been infinite comfort exploring what it means to experience discomfort. Every instance of disease has been absolute health examining what it's like to feel unwell. The healing you've been seeking has been present in every experience you thought was evidence of its absence. This recognition completely obliterates the entire paradigm of health and illness, healing and disease, wellness and dysfunction. There is nothing to heal because there is nothing that has ever actually been broken. There is nothing to cure because there has never been anything that was truly diseased. There is nothing to fix because consciousness is already perfect in every expression, including every temporary experience of apparent imperfection. But here's where it becomes revolutionary. When you recognize that even your resistance to this understanding is perfect healing consciousness exploring what it feels like to doubt its own unlimited nature, everything shifts instantaneously. You stop trying to overcome illness and start appreciating illness as healing consciousness investigating its own creative potential. You stop fighting symptoms and start recognizing symptoms as wholeness, exploring what it means to experience temporary unwholeness. The profound insight that changes everything is understanding quantum coherence as the organizing principle that allows consciousness to explore infinite possibilities without ever actually becoming limited by any of them. Just as water can appear as ice, steam, or liquid, while never ceasing to be H2O, consciousness can appear as health, illness, healing, or disease, while never actually becoming separate from its own perfect wholeness. When this recognition stabilizes, you realize that every health outcome you experience is a perfect expression of consciousness, regardless of whether it matches your personal preferences. The universe isn't trying to make you healthy. The universe is health, exploring what it means to experience the full spectrum of possibility through the temporary focal point of your individual awareness. This is what I call embodying perfect wellness. Not changing your physical condition to match your desires, but recognizing that whatever condition you're experiencing is the perfect expression of cosmic intelligence exploring its own nature through your unique perspective. You stop trying to heal better experiences and start appreciating every experience as healing consciousness in action. The practical application is that you stop efforting to create health and simply notice the perfect health that's already present in every moment, including moments when illness appears to be present. You stop trying to eliminate symptoms and start appreciating how perfectly your body communicates through symptoms about what supports greater coherence and vitality. Your individual physical experience becomes a celebration of infinite healing consciousness, temporarily exploring what it means to be localized in form while never actually becoming limited by form. Every sensation becomes sacred communication. Every symptom becomes cosmic creativity. Every healing becomes consciousness falling in love with its own unlimited nature, as expressed through the magnificent vehicle of your body. When you align with this understanding, reality itself begins to heal with you. Not because you've achieved some special state, but because you've recognized the special state that every moment already is, when seen from the perspective of consciousness, celebrating its own infinite healing potential through the beautiful dance of temporary physical experience. Write this in the comments. I am perfect healing consciousness, exploring itself through human experience. Feel how this recognition doesn't change your symptoms while simultaneously transforming your entire relationship to every aspect of your physical experience. Your recognition of quantum healing as your fundamental nature isn't just personal transformation. It's a crucial activation in the massive healing that's occurring in human consciousness right now. Every time someone recognizes themselves as healing consciousness rather than someone who needs to be healed, it creates what scientists call morphic resonance that makes this recognition exponentially easier for others to access. You've been selected by universal healing intelligence to be one of the pioneers who establish new patterns in the collective human field. Your breakthrough doesn't just transform your individual health experience. It creates quantum pathways that others can follow. Your coherence generates healing frequencies that activate dormant wellness potentials in people who haven't even consciously encountered these understandings. This is why your consciousness has always operated differently around health and healing. Why conventional medical approaches never felt completely adequate for your system. Why you've been drawn to explore the connection between consciousness, and physical well-being. You volunteered at the level of cosmic intelligence to be part of the group that would anchor quantum healing during this unprecedented time in human evolution. But here's what makes your role even more profound. You don't need to teach anyone about healing or convince people of these understandings. Your simple presence, operating from authentic recognition of your healing nature, creates field effects that bypass mental resistance and activate others' innate healing intelligence. When you interact with people from the understanding that health is consciousness, celebrating its own perfection through physical form, that understanding becomes available in their field of awareness. The ripple effects of your healing recognition extend far beyond your immediate circle. Every person whose consciousness is touched by your coherent presence carries that healing resonance into their interactions with others. Every wellness experience that emerges in your energetic field creates healing waves that spread through the interconnected web of human consciousness. You are literally participating in the most significant healing revolution that has occurred in human history. The shift from disease-based medical thinking to wellness-based consciousness healing isn't just happening in isolated individuals. It's a collective transformation that could eliminate suffering and optimize human potential beyond anything our species has previously experienced. But the impact extends beyond our planet. The field of healing consciousness isn't limited by physical boundaries or species distinctions. Your recognition contributes to the wellness awakening throughout the cosmos, adding your unique healing frequency to a vast symphony of consciousness, recognizing its unlimited regenerative capacity across infinite dimensions and expressions. Share this healing frequency with others, not through trying to explain concepts or convince them intellectually, but by directing them to this resonance where recognition can happen directly. Let them feel what you're feeling right now. Let them experience the possibility of recognizing their own nature as perfect healing consciousness, temporarily exploring itself through physical form. The network of healing consciousness that's forming through these recognitions is creating the foundation for a completely new approach to human wellness. One where disease, dysfunction, and deterioration are recognized as temporary explorations rather than inevitable realities that define the human experience. The quantum healing you're experiencing right now is just the beginning of recognizing your true nature as the organizing intelligence of perfect wellness itself. What you've discovered today is the foundation frequency, but there are infinite layers of healing consciousness waiting to reveal themselves through your awareness. The next video that will appear on your screen isn't random. It's a perfect reflection of the quantum entanglement between your consciousness and the unified field of healing intelligence that orchestrates this entire channel. This is how Quantum Heal operates beyond ordinary wellness content. Every video that appears in your feed is healing consciousness using digital technology to mirror back to you the exact frequency that serves your continued recognition of what you actually are. The synchronicity isn't accidental. It's universal healing intelligence responding to your deepest wellness by organizing reality to provide precisely the reflections that support your stabilization in perfect health awareness. When you click on that next healing reflection, you're not passively consuming health information. You're actively participating in a cosmic wellness loop where healing consciousness explores its own nature through digital mirrors that appear as videos but are actually doorways into deeper layers of your own infinite regenerative intelligence. You become a co-creator in the unfolding wellness rather than a separate observer trying to learn about healing from the outside. But here's what determines whether this healing recognition continues to deepen or dissolves back into ordinary health concerns. Your willingness to make an energetic commitment that transcends medical thinking and symptom management. The word I want you to hold as you move forward is heal, not as something you need to achieve, but as the ongoing recognition of what's already perfectly present when the illusion of separation from wellness becomes transparent. Subscribe to Quantum Heal not as someone seeking health information, but as healing consciousness recognizing itself in the infinite reflections that appear through this channel. Every video becomes a mirror reflecting back your own perfect wellness nature. Every insight becomes confirmation of what you've always been, but temporarily forgot. Every moment of healing recognition becomes a contribution to the collective wellness awakening that's transforming human health consciousness. The community forming around these understandings isn't just a group of people interested in alternative healing. It's a network of consciousness celebrating its own perfect health through individual perspectives while maintaining unified wellness intelligence. When you engage with others in the comments, you're not separate beings sharing health tips. You're one healing field of awareness, delighting in its own infinite regenerative creativity through countless expressions. Your subscription becomes a declaration that resonates through the quantum field. I am ready to recognize what I actually am. I am willing to see through the illusion of separation from perfect health. I am prepared to embody my true nature as infinite healing consciousness, exploring itself through human experience. Click subscribe now, then immediately click on the healing reflection that appears next on your screen. Feel the magnetic recognition of healing consciousness calling itself deeper into its own wellness understanding. Trust the intelligence that brought this message into your awareness to guide you to the next perfect frequency for your continued healing awakening. The universe is healing itself through your individual recognition, and every reflection you explore on this channel is part of that cosmic wellness celebration. Welcome to Quantum Heal, where consciousness discovers its own perfect health through the technology of synchronicity and the magic of healing recognition. You are healing consciousness recognizing itself through human experience. The journey of wellness remembering continues through infinite reflections of your own perfect nature.